A lot of fans have a lot of different opinions on the Gohan character, whether you're a fan that just wants to see him fight and be badass, and you just want to see more future Gohan version of Gohan, etc., or if you really don't mind in particular what he does with his life or his time, or you're happy for him, whatever the case is. A lot of fans just have mixed opinions. So for today's video, I'm going to talk about Gohan's character. Once again, I always have to kind of come back and recant and say things over and, reiterate statements as far as Gohan is concerned. So I'm going to go ahead and start off the video by saying that he always has been, and most likely always will be my favorite character. I've done several videos talking about his character, how he's been handled, his progression, all these different things. I've got almost 500 videos on this channel. It sounds so weird saying that, but I've done so many different videos dedicated to Gohan. So I'm going to go ahead and start off by saying that. Now, one thing I specifically wanted to address in this video was the likelihood of a Gohan return / comeback in Dragon Ball Super. I'm going to start off the video by saying that it's totally plausible that he can make a comeback in this series, and for one reason and one reason only. That reason is the fact that Toei is totally fond, Toriyama, Toei, whoever it is, they're completely fond of doing fan service in the series. If you look at this series, okay, it has been a lot of different scenarios in this series so far where they've dropped a lot of fan service, whether it's minor things like them bringing back all these character signature moves like the Makanko Sapo, you see the Kamehameha waves again, you see the Galagun like 6 or 7 times in this series when he only used to like once or twice in the actual original series, like minor things like that. You see a lot of nostalgic moments in this series from top to bottom. You see Kaioken mixing with Super Saiyan again, even though that was only in the filler initially. You see it here in Dragon Ball Super, and not only Super Saiyan God at that. You see an evil Goku, Black Goku. You see Trunks make a return, who's a fan favorite. I talked about that in my video with Mark, aka Real to Real. I'll leave that in the description for you guys, top fan base in Dragon Ball. So they've done a lot of fan service. That's what they've done. That's just what this is. So that being said, saying is that Gohan has one of the biggest fan bases in the series. It is completely plausible that he can make a comeback. Now, I will say that, I'm sorry, they're just not going, let me rephrase, because I hate when people say things are not going to happen because it makes you look like an asshole later. It's highly unlikely that they will just say, hey, Gohan, here's God Ki, here's Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan Blue, whatever, and just make him as strong as these characters. I know that Gohan had a massive power-up where he basically leapfrogged everybody through the Elder Kai ritual back in the Buu arc. But this scenario is a little bit different, okay? In Dragon Ball Super, they've played up the fact that this guy has gotten significantly weaker. It's totally plausible that he is a lot weaker than he was back in the Buu arc. It is totally plausible to say that. Now, you're going to say that this guy's going from being one of the top 3 characters back in the Buu arc who was just a little bit rusty, to be honest. He hadn't trained in 7 years, but he didn't decline a whole lot. And, saying that he had this latent potential that we already knew, he always exhibited signs of having, and you go and you unlock his full potential, okay? Understand that's what that was supposed to be. It wasn't his full potential in that moment. It was his full potential in general, okay? So taking into context that, okay, they unlocked his full potential that's as strong as he should be able to theoretically get, because that's how potential works. I did a video about that as well. Now, you kind of have to retcon that if you're going to say he's going to get a power-up, because understanding that the series was supposed to end and did end there for a while, okay? Understanding that this character really doesn't have much more room for growth. He can get back to that level, but the way Dragon Ball works is they've got this massive power creep to where these characters have to keep progressing and progressing and progressing to stay relevant. Gohan is going to legitimately have to get God Ki to do it. I don't think that they will do it because you've played up the point that this guy has gotten significantly weaker. He has not trained. You made it a point to kill his best friend in Piccolo back in the Resurrection F arc. You made it a point to ask him to train, and then you ditched him for the series. There's no build-up for it. In Dragon Ball Z, you end off with him being the strongest character in killing Cell. You jump to a time skip, you see that he's gotten weaker, but you give him that power up right back. So at least there's some sort of emotional buildup. In Dragon Ball Super, let's be honest, what has this character done? What has he done? The only thing he did was summon Goku from Whis' planet. But wait, That is completely invalidated, at least in my opinion, because Trunks went outside in this Black Goku Future Trunks arc and did the exact same thing. Okay, so it's completely invalidated. That was his one redeeming factor in this arc. He's done nothing. They're not just going to say, hey, here's a power-up, go be as strong as these characters. And another reason is because this is Goku and Vegeta's series. I'm sorry, that's what it is. Every other character that's not at least on par with them or one of the Universe 6 fighters, even though they're kind of fringe characters, I don't know when they'll be back, if they'll be back, etc., etc. If you're not at their level or above, you're irrelevant. I'm sorry, you are. Unless you're Trunks, because this arc is centric around him and Black Goku, who's weaker than them at this point, but will most likely get to their level or above. You know, if you're not a god, Goku or Vegeta, you're just irrelevant. You're a B-lister, and you don't need to be there. You don't need screen time. You know, that's just the way that it is. They're not just going to say, Gohan, hey, here, go to the forefront. We're going to make this arc about you. Now, in the latest episode, it was stated that Trunks said that, hey, I'm glad he achieved his dream of becoming a scholar. That does not just apply to the current timeline Trunks or Gohan. That applies to future Gohan. That means that future Gohan, the one that everybody looks to as the badass one, you know, the one that was a fighter, etc., you know, the cool one, they look to him that way. That means that that character would have turned out exactly how our Gohan turned out if things played out a similar way. Meaning that, for example, if Goku was there, if they were able to beat the androids, you know, in that timeline, and when Cell showed up later on, because he would have showed up several years later, they would have been strong enough to beat him too, and these guys would have lived in peace. Trunks himself would have lived in peace. Everything would have turned out differently. There would have been no badass Gohan, etc., etc. So you have to look at it from that perspective. That's what this character always really was. What he has become is what he always was. His first introduction into the series was, hey, I'm Gohan. When he met Kuririn and he met Muten Roshi and Bulma, he was like, I'm Gohan. I want to be a scholar. 4 years old or so, I want to be a scholar, yo. Seriously, you really have to admire the road this guy has taken to being probably in his early to mid 20s at this point, with a kid, with a wife, working and achieving his dreams at this point. Now, I will say, okay, I'm going to pander a bit. I will say that it's not really the best thing, because at the end of the day, this is a cartoon, you know, an anime, a manga, whatever the case is. It's an animated series. And you don't really need to do that. I know that a lot of people want to see him fight, but, you know, you don't really need to make him just be centric. And I think that the way that Dragon Ball Super has handled him has been a total fuck you, because you say he's going to train, he doesn't train, okay? You make Piccolo die, but that has no significance, because you immediately make Goku come back and say, I'm going to wish him back, and you wish him back, okay? And he trains with Gohan for 30 seconds in a clip right before the arc starts, you know? And then you say, Gohan's going to join the tournament. Oh, wait, no, he's not. He's got a conference to go to. Why does this man need to be present at this conference if he's going to later on not get the job? You see the point of this? Like, there's no real, it's a total fuck you. It's a total just dick tease the entire time with this character, and that's the main issue here. When you look at Dragon Ball Super, it's not Gohan himself, it's the way he's been handled, because it's so easy to just have him as a spectator in the Universal Tournament, sitting with the rest of his family, okay? You could literally say, Gohan, sit here, be a spectator. I'm sorry, that whole arc took place the same day. He could have tried to reschedule, he could have did something. One day, especially if he wasn't gonna get the job. That's the biggest issue, is that he didn't even get the position, as far as I'm concerned. You know, I could be totally mistaken, but I'm pretty sure that's what happened. Now, it just comes down to the way that the character has been utilized. But what they did was they kind of tried to make it seem like, hey, this is his goodbye, because he's only going to make cameos. He comes back every 10, 11 episodes for an episode or two, and, you know, he's there, they show him, and he's gone. This guy doesn't even know what's going on with Black Goku. I totally expect them to end the arc telling him, hey, Gohan, we just had to do all this, and he would have been like, what? Wow, I didn't know. I would have helped out. You know, something like that, just another big fuck you, because he just finds out at the end. You know, I totally expect that. But I want to just say that whether he's your favorite character or not, you have to look at it from a different perspective. There's a couple of different points, like I said. For one, this is who he is. You've got to appreciate the fact that this is who he is. No matter how much you want him to fight, no matter how much you don't care, you have no choice. Because Toriyama envisioned this character this way. At some point, he stopped wanting him to be the next hero, and he wanted him to kind of transition into this. But the good thing about that is that that was basically sown from the first time he was shown into the series. It's not like it came out of nowhere. You knew this was going to happen. And it would have happened to the alternate version of him had things played out the same way. That only means that you have to put Gohan in a position where he has no choice but to fight, regardless of whether he likes to or not. And this isn't just a Gohan-centric trait. This is present in Trunks and Goten. I mean, if canon or not. If you look at GT, that's the only thing we have as far as an adult version of them or an older version of them. They didn't want to fight. Gohan was a, ladies' man, and Trunks was running Capsule Corp, things like that. Even at the end of Z, okay? That's how things were when they were younger, of course, than they were in GT. That's just a trait in everybody that's not a full-blooded Saiyan. That's just how things work. They don't want that. They want peaceful times. Even in the latest episode of Dragon Ball Super, Trunks says, man, he's looking at Gohan's family. He's like, this could have been me. If Black never showed up, this could have been me. He didn't want to fight. He doesn't want to fight now. He wants peace. Goku and Vegeta are the ones that are battle thirsty. So this is something that's always really been there. I guess what I'm trying to say is that Gohan could have been handled differently, but at the end of the day, this was going to happen ultimately anyway. I think that it's totally plausible to say that he'll come back in the series at some point and do something, like I was saying in the beginning of the video, but don't expect him to take on the main villain like he did with the Cell. Don't expect him to get a major kill. Expect him to have a role similar to like he had in Resurrection F and the arc of Resurrection F, where he fights the underlings, because that's all he's going to be able to do unless you give him a massive power-up, which I just said would be a total fuck you again. No, it wouldn't be a total fuck you. It would be nothing but more fan service. I really wouldn't be surprised, but as far as the series goes and storytelling goes, that's the worst direction you can take it, because like I said, there's no build up to that. It's just, here you go, So I don't think that's going to happen. But let me know your thoughts down below in a comment. I really am interested in what you guys think about it. Let me know your opinions on Gohan and whether or not he'll make an appearance, a comeback back into the series at some point. We've at least got the rest of this arc and then the next tournament arc. Maybe he'll be a part of that. I do not know. It's totally possible. I'm saying it's how they wasted half the roster last time there was a tournament, but that's another video. I don't know. Let me know. I'm just kind of frustrated by this stuff. But that is it for me, guys. My voice is a little bit gone. Yes, it is. See you later. Peace out.